How's it going, everybody? It's Stock Picks by Tim here, and I want to talk about Matterport. Now, we had a very red day today. I did actually purchase some shares, but I'm going to go over a couple articles here. I'm also going to go over the technicals, fundamentals, and my thoughts moving forward throughout January and into earnings. February 2 is going to be their earnings, so mark that down on your calendar if you haven't yet. But I think we're going to have some rough times here in the next couple of weeks. So I was buying some Matterport on Vanguard, like I like to do, and I saw this article. It wasn't necessarily an article, it was just a statement essentially, that basically Wedbush removed Matterport from their best ideas list. However, their price target is still sitting at 38. Now, I'll leave the articles below so you can read them for yourselves. So this article here, Morgan Stanley sees the metaverse as an $8 trillion addressable market. And they also say it's likely to become the next generation social media, streaming, and gaming platform. You know, we've got companies like Roblox. We've got, of course, Meta platforms or Facebook changing their name to Meta. I mean, to me, the chips are already on the table. It's plain to see, it's clear to see we're going to be in a growing industry, and the metaverse is going to continue to be built out. And I also think cryptos are going to play a huge role in the metaverse, but that's a whole nother story. And one reason I like Matterport so much, they're the leader in this industry for at least the digital transformation of buildings. So millions of buildings in more than 150 countries have been transformed into immersive Matterport digital twins to improve every part of the building lifecycle from planning, construction, and operations to documentation, appraisal, and marketing. You can definitely see the situations in which Matterport has great use cases. Here's a quote by the CTO of Matterport. Working with In-Q-Tel has expedited development of our AWS or Amazon Web Services GovCloud offering, which can expand our ability to serve more customers. Working towards this level of regulatory compliance hardens the Matterport platform even further, elevating cloud security for federal and state governments, as well as financial services, utilities, healthcare, educational institutions, and enterprises globally. And this was said by the CTO of Matterport. Now, as for In-Q-Tel, or IQT, they're a non-profit organization. They've been around for over 20 years. Matterport is not the only company partnering with them. We have them right there. Now, as for the analytics companies, you know, there's quite a list. There's 2 pages of this, okay? So just be aware, you know, they don't have like an exclusive agreement or any exclusive deals necessarily. They are working with a lot of different companies, so it's something to be aware of. That just gives you more faith in a company like In-Q-Tel working with someone like Matterport. It's good to see that Matterport's among this list. And like I said, their upcoming earnings date is February 2. Okay, so write that down on your calendar. At least according to MarketBeat here, that's when the earnings is, February 2. And for the current quarter right here, we've got 5 analysts covering this, giving it about roughly a $25 million revenue estimate. Okay, $25 million revenue estimate. And we're expecting still to be negative EPS, roughly about negative 9 cents earnings per share, but they are expecting to continue to get better. Okay, so we need this to turn around. Okay, and I'll tell you why in a second here. Now, the thing is with Matterport, it is definitely overvalued, but what you're paying for it is the future potential. Okay, at current value, it's overvalued. Simple to say. Matterport's current assets to liabilities looks good, okay, but their total assets to liabilities is a bit of a red flag. And if your assets are worth less than your liabilities, you know, if you can still pay your bills with cash flows, you don't need to claim bankruptcy, but with a long enough time, you'll eventually run out of cash, okay, especially since they're not profitable yet. And their assets to liabilities, it's flipped. Normally you have more assets to liabilities. That's not the case with Matterport, at least according to the numbers. All right, but one thing to consider though is the 14th, today, that's actually today, the day of this upload, is the last day of the redemption of warrants. The redemption of warrants will help the company. They will make some money from that. Now it likely won't be on this quarter. All right, but for their next quarter, we will likely see some cash from those warrants. So that's one thing to think about. Okay, I'm long-term with Matterport. I did buy some at this price here. But like I said, it can fall further. And as you will see, we are still a falling knife. We're just in free fall. Like I said earlier, I thought we were going to see this head and shoulders. Sure enough, we just completely dropped. I thought we might see a little bit of a shoulder and then drop. But no, today was just a complete drop. I do expect next week to possibly pop a little bit as we get up closer to that share lockup. Okay, but we got past the warrants. I think next week could be a little bit of green. You know, we'll likely trade 14 to 15 in my opinion. And then coming up to the 19th, though, the end of that week, we will likely start coming down. So I've just been averaging through this, which is what I've been saying the whole time, you know, just continue. I'm going to continue to slowly buy through it. And I'm happy that I just didn't go all in at one point. You know, I could have seen, say, 15 at a great price and just decided to go all in, thinking that maybe we were going to come back, return. You know, we did kind of have a bit of a false breakout here. But I was hesitant because knowing about the headwinds coming forwards, knowing the earnings on February 2 and it's likely to be negative EPS still, it'll still be a bit of a shock to Matterport, I think. But we do want to see that revenue increase, so that'll be a good sign. But the EPS, it's very likely to be negative, and it's a risky company. It's one thing to be aware of. However, I'm going to continue to dollar cost through this. Okay, this to me is a great time to buy anything in this range. Great time to buy. Okay, and I have a long-term mindset on this. Just like with ChargePoint, just like with many other stocks I've talked about, it's more long-term mindset. Okay, so there's definitely likelihood that these can continue further down, but looking at it from a multiple year standpoint, it's a gift to me. To me, this price is a gift looking at it from a multi-year standpoint. Okay. So short term, I don't think this is the stock to get into. All right, but long term, I think it's a great choice. Short term, you're likely to see it come down even more. Okay, we can likely see $12. It's not out of the realm of possibility to even see it testing 10. Okay, but you just have to be patient. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to continue through this and just continue to dollar cost through it. All right, I could have just thrown everything in. Instead, I decided to keep some cash on the side for good reason. I think throughout the rest of January, this will be continuing to be a falling knife. All right, it could be a rough time for Matterport. I'm just going to continue to average through. I do believe in the metaverse and the prospects of the metaverse. But yeah, technicals look very bearish, and it's very likely we can come down further. But will I be a buyer then? Of course I will. So that's basically all I got for you. Just a quick update on Matterport. A couple of my thoughts. It's definitely a risky company, but they are the leader in digital twins. They're, I think, going to be the leader in digital twins in the whole metaverse. There's going to be companies reaching out to them, more and more companies, and they're going to be looking for their product. So I believe in Matterport for the long term. Short term could be shaky. Okay, if you're swing trading this, if you're day trading this, probably go with the spread. Honestly, either go with the spread or go with buying puts if you're going to be short term on this, because it's very likely we can come down further. But one thing to consider is we have been on a continued downtrend. So you would have been better off buying some puts up here. Now it gets to a riskier place. Now maybe some long calls, all right? Like talking 2023 calls, maybe late 2022 calls. I could see that being a good way to go. There's a lot of ways to play Matterport. All right, right now it's just been continuing in a downtrend. Just be careful out there, guys. Thanks so much. Make sure you like and subscribe. I put out videos every single day. And until next time, peace.